Hello, my name is Christina Simone. I am a licensed elementary education teacher. I have an undergraduate degree in social work, and I am currently pursuing a master's in divinity. Presently, I also work for a company in China that teaches English as a second language to kiddos. For them, I serve as an online mentor to teachers, other adults who are teaching English as a second language. I also teach English as a second language in a brick and mortar setting. Mexican individuals who live in the town where I presently live in the country of Mexico. I also offer my services as a pastoral counselor to two separate congregations via phone or Google Hangout. They are referred by the church pastor. My ethical introduction to others: when I work with teachers, I always introduce myself as an online educator and a mentor who is available to walk with them through their first year of employment in the company. Employees know up front that I will not always have all of the answers to their questions, but that I will always do my very best to either find the answer or point them in the right direction, and will always maintain the company's professional standards and will always be operating according to company policy. When I work in the brick and mortar setting in Mexico, students know that I am available daily. If they are a minor, that their parents will be part of their educational process. Or if I do any pastoral counseling, I do inform them that as a minor, their parents do have certain rights to information as they move through the counseling process. And so I do detail what sort of information they have the right to. If I'm acting as a pastoral counselor over the phone or via Google Hangouts, I'm always clear that I am acting as a pastoral counselor and not as a licensed therapist or a licensed counselor. I share with them my background, what I do, what I've done, and the education that I have. In this introduction, I also make very clear to them what my expectation of them is as I move through either the educational or the counseling process. My informed consent changes based on where I am or the population that I'm working with. I outline that I am still a mandated reporter, and I am very clear to explain exactly what I am mandated to report. And I describe as much of the counseling process that they will go through as I possibly can. I also explain how counseling goals and planned termination will work, as well as the number of sessions that I intend to have with them before reaching that planned termination. I cover with them when and how I will refer them to another professional, and then how that process will work if those circumstances would occur. 2 to 3 areas of concern. One area is that only abuse or harm to humans constitutes a reason to break confidentiality. Another area is if I forget or forgot to get informed consent. That was an area of concern for me that I moved through this semester. And properly managing dual relationship is another area that I have expanded my learning and understanding of during this semester. One way that I'm going to combat if forgetting informed consent is to place reminders inside of the patient or the client's folder, and then to place a checklist of items and documents that I need to have, the informed consent being one of them. I will require the client to complete the paperwork even before entering the office or the space where counseling is to take place for the first time. So my understanding of ethical reasons for breaking a client's confidentiality was renewed and increased by examining the ethical conflict of animal abuse or non-dependent adult abuse. Through one of the case studies provided, I was even reminded and learned even more of the limits of confidentiality regarding past crimes committed by a client. In this area, I was reminded that I will never be done researching, that I will never be done learning about the parameters of this concept of confidentiality, and I was also reminded of the ways that I should always research any precedents or existing parameters regarding any matter that I come across, whether it is according to state or even country standards, because I do work in 2 separate countries. I also have more to learn about what is the best practice for any instance that I will encounter if a client divulges any sort of past crime or offense to me. I found that in the reading this semester that I have engaged in more dual relationships that I might have previously realized, perhaps not intentionally, but rather because my friends, family, other church members, or colleagues find me sometimes as a reliable source. I was reminded that I have to remain guarded for my own safety, as well as to remain professional in all of these instances. This will also ensure that all of my relationships are ethically sound. I realized that I needed to adjust the way that I keep records. In understanding more clearly the depths of what constitutes a dual relationship, I realized that unintentionally I had had dual relationships that I was not documenting. These are relationships with individuals at church who would come to me and confide in me questions, problems, or matters that they were wondering about or needed to talk to me about. Despite these being general conversations that I might consider to be with a close friend, this did not negate the fact that I should be keeping track of these conversations, even if in some type of journal that I keep for myself. In my professional work, I keep a filing cabinet that is locked at all times. I'm the only one that has access to the keys. I do maintain encrypted files on a cloud online. However, I do not use names or clear identifiers for the people I keep records for. I keep I keep correct names and information in the written file form that is locked in the filing cabinet in my office in their files, and then I write how they are encrypted in my files on the cloud so that I can keep things sort of sorted out. I am required to maintain records for the company that I work for in the online platform that they have. As part of this, I do identify the individuals by their first name and ensure that all company policies are being followed when submitting assessments and or evaluations. I do keep records for each of my students in the brick and mortar setting in a locked single filing drawer that I and the other teacher that I work with have access to. We both have access to this information as we both entered into an agreement with the student or the student and their parents, and as such we make clear that we both have access to their demographics, assessments, evaluations, or notes. The people that I choose to be my supervisors, mentors, those who hold me accountable, because the work that I do varies, I do have several individuals that serve as my either supervisor, my mentor, and one of them is I refer to as my accountability partner. And so my mentor, as part of my field education, is Amber Williford. She helps to hold me accountable for the work that I do through the field education, which is the online teaching and mentorship, and also in the brick and mortar setting in Mexico. I spend time with her every week, either over the phone, through Google Hangout, we email, we text, we discuss new interactions that I encounter each week, how I handle them, how I process through working out how I'm going to handle them, if I haven't already, and perhaps how I can incorporate this into what I do in the future, and also how I should have handled things differently or could think about things differently going forward. As a mentor for the company that I work for, I report directly to one of the five senior vice presidents. I always report to the exact same one, and I provide this individual with information about those that I am working with through monthly assessments. We discuss the progress being made by the employee, the goals that we have set, that I have set with the employee, any goals that they might have reached from the previous month, and any areas of concern that I might have. I am held accountable by the senior pastors of both of the churches that I serve as pastoral counselor for. I do not discuss any of the specific topics or counseling details. I don't discuss progress notes. I don't discuss findings or counseling goals or any of the sensitive or personal information regarding the people that I see in the form of a pastoral counselor with the senior pastor. The senior pastor simply makes a referral to me and then gives me their contact and demographic information, and then I reach out to them from there. I only share information with the senior pastor if the client requests that I do so, and only with their specific written and expressed permission do I share things with the senior pastor. Only a referral is made by the senior pastor. I do not share any additional information about the counseling process. I share with the senior pastors any classes or additional in-services that I'm attending or that I might have taken part of, so that so that they're aware of what I'm capable of, or able to, if I'm able to add any additional areas of counseling to my skill set. They are also aware and able to hold me accountable to the work that I do, based on knowing what I'm capable of doing. For additional ethical and professional matters in counseling, I do seek advice from my own mom. She is a licensed clinical psychologist. She specializes in work with kiddos or minors. My mom operates her own private practice in the state in which she lives. If seeking counsel from my own mom is inappropriate for any reason, I've also sought counsel from her business partner, who is a licensed clinical social worker, so an LCSW. These two individuals do ensure that confidentiality, ethical, and professional boundaries are maintained at all times as I seek counsel from them, should I for some reason not ensure that those boundaries are maintained as well. My sister serves as my spiritual accountability partner and has for 15 or 16 years or so. She is a no-nonsense type of person when it comes to having a relationship with God, and she knows me well enough to call me out on any inconsistencies or anything that she feels like isn't aligning with the Word of God, or doesn't make sense, or if she can tell that there's an area in which I am lacking. And I love her and I respect her enough to listen, so that's what made her a good person, a good fit for that role. I chose my mother as someone who oversees my professional counseling because she has 30 years of experience in this area and is a respected professional in her field. I've chosen to seek counsel from her business partner for many of the same reasons. They both desire the best for me in life, and also to see that I am thriving while maintaining my ethical and professional standards. I trust that they will not steer me in the wrong direction, and I rely on their opinion and their experiences. I've chosen to work with the two pastors in the United States because of my relationship with them individually. I've known both of these pastors for nearly 20 years. I'm comfortable with them, and they rely on and trust my abilities to do the work with the members of their congregation that they have asked me to do. I choose to work with these pastors and the members of their congregation because there is a long history and mutual trust between us. Amber Williford originally filled the role of my field ed mentor because she was qualified and capable, and she was willing to do so. I have asked her to remain in this role because I do feel a sense of obligation to offer my best under her supervision. She is also an individual that I respect immensely, and I know that she will call me out on anything when she sees if it's inappropriate or maybe perhaps questionable. Not that that has happened a lot. She is certainly somebody that I will listen to, and I will hear her advice, and I value her words as she speaks them to me.